The James Show Podcast.
Bill Melugin was on Hannity last night. He was on the phone, on the ground, at the scene, or at least pretty close to it. And he read the report from DHS as it came out. Now, while you're hearing this report, which I'm going to play where he describes the actual shooting itself, it's only a minute and a half. I want you to know in the background that there's a barricaded off house. There's a live camera on it from what's either a helicopter or probably a drone these days. And there's fireworks going off. These maniacs are chucking fireworks at ICE. And I'm not saying they're shooting them off in celebration like, hey, good job, guys. You got another one. Here's a cuckoo fountain. Here's some Roman candles. They're doing it to interfere with ICE. They're shooting them at the ICE officers. They're shooting them at the little line that they have barricaded when you make a perimeter around the house. I don't know. I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know the technical terms for these things, but that's what's going on in the background while Bill Melugin is reading this DHS report to Sean Hannity over the phone.
DHS says at 6:50 p.m. Central Time tonight, quote, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Joe Biden in 2022. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The subject then fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot and attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, two subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals, the original subject got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired defensive shots to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. All three subjects ran back into the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and subject are both in the hospital. Both attackers are in custody. This is another attack. This attack on another brave member of law enforcement took place while Minnesota's top leaders, Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, are actively encouraging an organized resistance to ICE and federal law enforcement officers. Their hateful rhetoric and resistance against men and women who are simply trying to do their jobs must end.
Everyone shooting off fireworks to interfere with ICE in the background video there, they need to be tracked down and jailed like a January 6er. If we have the ability to go find everyone's great aunt, every overweight 70-year-old gravy seal from, I don't know, Bunny Chip, Nebraska that happened to loiter through Statuary Hall without even knocking over the velvet ropes. If we can go track all them down, find them at their home and haul them back to D.C. 7 states away, we can go get every nerd that was throwing a Roman candle at a cop. They need to learn that this isn't a game. They're LARPing. You know what LARPing is? I think younger people know. Older people, live action role playing. That's when you play like with swords, but they're not really swords. It's like either a wooden sword or something, plastic sword. But if you hit someone in the arm, they got to act like their arm is now incapacitated. And you're just play fighting, and you do your little sword fighting, and you can call yourself Lancelot, and you can call yourself King Arthur or whatever the nerds do. Well, that's what these guys are doing with these cops. Excuse me. They have real guns, kiddos, protesters. You're shooting a Roman candle at them. You are coming. You're not actually trying to like win a battle against them. You're just trying to irritate them. That's wrong. That's already illegal. We don't even have to pass a new law to end this crap. We just have to enforce the law as it is. We know how to fix it. Everyone that blocks a road, track them down. This woman that got shot, Renee, if we had enforced the law, she would have already been in jail. She would have already been arrested so many times. Even if she got out on bail, she wouldn't be doing this anymore. You have to make this unappealing to them. You have to make the negative consequences of them break the law actually occur if you want them to stop breaking the law and interfering with ICE. This would end super quick. And we see this with the protesters. If they try and have protesters, remember when they tried to have protesters in Austin after Renee Good? What happened? Cops just went and started arresting everybody that was blocking the street. It ended immediately. Our mayor does that even here in Dallas, even in super blue Dallas, when those goobers tried to block the airport last year. What happened? Just, all right, start arresting them. You can't stand out here in the middle of Mockingbird Lane on rush hour on a Tuesday. But the other part that I think the part that really bothers me more about this is another guy who came here illegally, has been here illegally, already committed crimes illegally, and we just re-release him back into society? Who the hell does that? Who thinks that's a good idea? If that is your preferred policy preference for governance, you're terrible at governing. You shouldn't have any position of power. It blows my mind that these people get votes. But no one actually is going to the ballot box voting saying, well, I hope we re-release criminals, illegal alien criminals back into society. That sure would be better for our country. No, they're voting like, oh, well, Republicans are racist and I don't like racism, so I'm voting for Democrats. Or Republicans are homophobic and I'm gay, or my friends are gay, or I'm sympathetic to gay, so I'm just going to vote Democrat. Or Republicans are Islamophobic, or Republicans are some other form of phobia. Just a terrible human being. Oh, they hate women and I'm a woman and I had an abortion and they think I'm a murderer, so I'm going to vote Democrat. No one's actually voting for this, I hope. But this is what you're getting. On top of that, remember, Minneapolis cops do not cooperate with ICE. So maybe their help could have saved this escalation from happening. But what might make you feel better is Donald Trump says he's going to cut off all sanctuary cities from any government funding starting February 1st. I'll read you the message that he put up last night about that coming up next on the James Show. But how do we stop this? How do we stop this violence against ICE? Don't we need to jail all these protesters? How in the heck are they getting away with this? Here's how the New York Times wrote their headline about the shooting that happened last night. Because I just played for you the report that an ICE agent pulled over a guy that they already knew was illegal. This was a targeted traffic stop. That's what that means. He takes off running. The guy runs after him. He tackles him. So some other guys come out and they start beating the guy with a shovel. They start beating the ICE agent with a shovel. So he pulls out his guns, fires some shots. No one's dead, but now there's a bunch of protesters have something else to rally around. They don't care that it's a Venezuelan gang member. They don't care that it's a guy that's already committed crimes and been convicted of them and then re-released back into America, back into your neighborhoods. It's just something else to gripe about. But here's how the New York Times, they leave out the shovel part, obviously, in the headline. But they say, federal agent shoots man in Minneapolis, prompting tense protests. Yeah, what the heck was that? He just randomly just shot a guy. You didn't point out that he was getting beat with a shovel. Here's the subheadline. The agent shot a Venezuelan man who was resisting arrest, an official said. Protesters and law enforcement officers clashed for hours as city officials urged people to go home. Nothing about the shovel there. The agent shot. This is the subheadline. So this is like when you're scrolling through in social media. This is the only part you see. And this is the only part you can really expect most people to see. Most people don't click through the headlines and read the whole article. And that's not a flaw, like I'm better than everyone. I read the whole article. I don't either. You can't possibly read all the articles of every headline you see. You have to be selective. But they say he was resisting arrest, not attacking him with a shovel. They don't say that the cop shot him in self-defense because him and two other guys were beating him with shovels and sticks. No, he just shot a guy who was resisting arrest. It's like he went to cuff him. The guy pulled his arm away, so he just executed him in the street the way they make it sound. These people want more violence. They want more riots. They are inciting it. They are stoking it. They are cheering for it because they know it's good for business. That's sick. Donald Trump said he's going to cut off all sanctuary cities starting February 1st. There was a post yesterday on Truth Social. It says, effective February 1st, no more payments will be made by the federal government to states for their corrupt criminal protection centers known as sanctuary cities. All they do is breed crime and violence. If states want them, they will have to pay for them, make America great again. Why weren't we doing that 8 years ago when you first got to be president? Why do we allow sanctuary cities for one more day? This is Bobby in Irving. Hey, Bobby, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, to answer your last question, it's because everything is just so political. And I just wanted to, I'm 64 years old. When I was growing up, there was a cop. When I was in high school, we were running up and down the strip looking for trouble. A cop had a person pulled over writing a ticket. We stuck our head out the window and said, bring him to jail, bring him to jail. That cop chased us down, and we went to jail for impeding the procedure of a law officer. Now, compare that to where me, while I'm watching on the TV, people are making contact with him. They won't get out of the car. They're throwing things at him. And then the thing about it, what people don't realize is those police officers have a gun on their holster. My daddy was a cop. So imagine the trouble me and my brothers got in.
Right.
However, you can't be 6 feet. You're not supposed to be closer than 6 feet to that officer. That he has a gun on his hip. So imagine 4 people around him. They're breaking the law. Everything is breaking the law, and it's all political. I mean, they won't just come out and say, we defunded the police. We've turned around and just put a scarlet letter on their chest, and then defamation of character. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to impeding the functioning of a law officer laying hands on them, getting in their face, spitting on them, throwing stuff at them, destroying federal.
Yeah, okay, but Bobby, I hear why you're frustrated because it's already illegal. We don't even need to change the laws or get anything passed or push anything through Congress. We just need to enforce the laws as they're written. We just need to treat these people like they treated the January 6ers. We just need to find everyone because they're not just. It's not like they're throwing sparklers and black cats at the officers. I mean, someone's chucking artillery shells into like a phalanx of officers who have surrounded a building where people were barricaded in last night. And Bobby, that's the most frustrating part. I hear it in your voice, sir, is that all we have to do is enforce the laws. How are these people getting away with it? And were all these people worried about, there's a threat to our democracy? Well, it's a threat to our democracy. We all come together and we make laws against illegal immigration and we're not allowed to enforce them. Then we also make laws against impeding law enforcement when they're executing an arrest and we don't enforce it. We have laws against blocking the streets and we don't enforce it. We have laws against all kinds of property damage and harassment, and all we have to do is these people are getting such golden glove treatment. That's probably not the right word. They're getting exceptional treatment. They are above the law. They are getting away with crimes constantly while whining about being the victim and calling us the fascist. The rule of law dictates that you do not get to pick and choose when the law is enforced. Then you don't have the rule of law. You have the rule of man. And we don't really talk about what the opposite of the rule of law is much these days, but it's just when you selectively decide I'm going to enforce these laws at this time but against these people on January 6th, but not against all these protesters in Minneapolis. Were any of the January 6ers chucking artillery shells into a line of cops? That happened? How did they get treated worse? Where's all the equality people? Don't you want everyone to be treated equally? Don't you want equity? And we'll include them. There'll be some inclusion when we enforce our laws against rioting and blocking cops. How about a little diversity for that, too? We'll arrest Team Red and Team Blue. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Yeah, so some heartbreaking audio is coming up next. The father-in-law of Renee Good, the lady that was shot in Minneapolis last week, spoke to CNN last night, and they were trying to get him to say just anything, something bad about ICE or Trump or whatever. But he wouldn't take the bait, and he gets kind of religious, and it's gonna make you a little sad next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm going to play you two clips from Renee Good's father-in-law on CNN. It's going to kind of be a bummer, but you need to hear it. But I have some guys that are lined up here. It looks like we got some good calls. Let's see. Mike in Sulphur Springs, you're on WBAP.
Yes, sir. I have come to realize that, I've been a truck driver for 31 years, and I'm getting to the point here in just a second. And the law, I've been stopped by the Highway Patrol, and what people don't understand, the law is not out to get them. It's out to protect others from, it's all about safety. And this ICE officer that shot this woman, and I have a good friend that's a retired Texas Ranger, and he said their training is just like theirs. Their last resort is pull your pistol. Try to talk them out of it. Try to get things not escalated, but calm down. And what just flies all over me is these protests. What are they protesting? The guy was trying to protect them from somebody. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Somebody in a car that goes nuts and drives through people and hurts a bunch of people. Now, was that woman trying to do that? Or, he was just trying to protect his fellow officers and the public. But,
right. And Mike,
we've gotten to where we don't see that.
Well, Mike in Sulphur Springs, if you tie all these together, that's the perfect question. Why are they protesting this? Because it's even harder for the shooting that happened yesterday. Really, you're upset that a guy who was getting beat by three grown men with shovels pulled out his gun and took them out, and they're criminals to begin with, and they're illegal immigrants, and you still are against the cops? It sounds like it doesn't matter what the situation is. You're just against the ICE cops. Now, you're just against enforcing the law, even if it's a criminal who's actively beating the snot out of one of your fellow American neighbors who happens to go into law enforcement. You're still on the side of the foreigner. What the hell level of just self-sabotage and self-hatred is this?
It's kind of like Buford T. Justice says, what the heck is the world coming to?
Well, that's a good one. Buford T. Justice. David in Bedford, you're on WBAP.
Yes, sir, James. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. This total disrespect for law and authority, what needs to happen? I think they need, when they come into an area, the ICE is coming to an area, they need to roll up with the paddy wagons, the just incarceration buses, whatever they want to call them, and it'll say on the outside 5 to 10 years. You go in here, you're serving 5 to 10 years. You throw a rock, you throw a bottle, you spit, you throw fireworks. You will be grabbed up, you will be zip tied, you'll be thrown in here. You're going to serve 5 to 10 years. That's just the way it's going to be, and it'll be right there with the ICE agents doing their job. But they also have the other guys will be grabbing people and throwing them in the wagon.
You know what? I don't know what the exact time is, but what I would like to see, David, in Bedford, is you do that, you're going to get the same sentence a January 6er got. We talked to Larry Brock, who's from,
Absolutely.
Where's he from? Pilot Point or Prosper or somewhere up there? He's a retired Air Force veteran. He didn't break anything. He didn't kick a door in. He didn't punch a police officer. He just walked through an open door, looked around, walked out, and he had to go to jail for over, I think it was like a year and a few months, like a year and 4 months, something like that. You get the Larry Brock sentence is what you get.
Yes, and if you get a federal crime like that, you'll serve every day. You won't get off for a good behavior. You'll serve every day. You start putting people in, and they people need to be. Look, go ahead. Everybody
feels that because the real injustice here is a bunch of harmless grandmas and grandpas got thrown in the clink. They weren't throwing down artillery shells at cops. They weren't hitting them with fireworks. They weren't hitting them with shovels. They weren't throwing anything at them. Oh, that's where it comes from. That's where the frustration boils in all of us, David. Justin in Dallas, you're on WBAP. Oh, Justin stepped away, I guess. So here is Renee Good's father-in-law, and he was asked, to react to the shooting, like, are you angry at ICE? How much does Trump suck? And he doesn't take the bait because clearly he's on Team Red. Clearly he's a Trump fan, but he got kind of religious.
Well, I'm a Trump supporter also. And Renee was an amazing person. I mean, she full of life, full of joy. I mean, real gentle, a good mother. I just think, we make bad choices. And, that's the problem. There's so much chaos in the whole world today. And that's why the Bible says, if my people would humble themselves and seek his face and pray and turn from our wicked ways, God will hear from heaven and forgive our sins and heal our lands. And that's what we need to do. We need to turn to God and walk in the Spirit of God and let him lead us and guide us.
How nice is that to hear it on just network news, like in the mainstream media, like it's not a cuss word, someone actually quoting the Bible. Some people get a little cringy when you start quoting the Bible. Why not? We quote Confucius. We read the little piece of paper in our fortune cookie. We quote all these other books. Why not the Bible? But the lady interviewing him keeps trying to steer him back into, you mad at ICE? Who do you blame for this? Who's at fault here? Is Renee at fault? Just trying to get him to blame anyone, either side. And he doesn't take the bait.
Well, I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's a hard situation all the way around. It's hard for for everybody involved. I mean, the ICE agent, at first I didn't see the footage where, he was actually, he was actually being ran. I mean, I seen the bump of the car hitting his legs. And so in a flash like that, it's hard to say how you would react. From my understanding that he had been through that before, maybe dragged or something. And so, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any enemies. I love everybody. And that's what the Bible tells us, love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But, I think there's some bad choices. And the word says, for the wrath of God will come up on the children of disobedience. And, it's I don't blame ICE. I don't blame Rebecca. I don't blame Renee. I just wish that, if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there.
Yeah, it's a real bummer, but he's not wrong. Just kind of makes you sad. Coming up next, I'll lift your spirits up a little bit because I want Greenland, damn it. We need a 51st state. We haven't added. When's the last time we added territory to the United States? Why did we stop doing that? I mean, is this an empire or not? This comes up because Donald Trump was asked about it this week, and it looks like he wants Greenland too, and he hasn't ruled out using force. So,
well, we're going to see what happens with Greenland. We need Greenland for national security, so we're going to see what happens. They're going to brief me on the meeting right after this conference. In fact, the sooner I get you out, the faster I'm going to know exactly what happened. But we have a very good relationship with Denmark, as you know. We'll see. But, we're doing the Golden Dome. We're doing a lot of things, and we really need it. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in, and China's going to go in.
See, this just sounds like a pretext. We don't need it. You know how I know we don't need it? We've been around for 250 years without it. We're doing great. I want it. I'm not against having it, but we don't have to lie. Look, this isn't like for strategic purposes. We would just like some more land. They probably have some minerals. Hell, they might have oil. I don't know. Maybe people want to go climb around on glaciers. But yeah, let's add Greenland. There's no reason Denmark should have it and we shouldn't. We're closer. We're bigger. We're stronger. We could kick them out in a second if we wanted. Hell, we could go do that Navy SEAL team raid that we did on Maduro to basically everyone in Greenland and just own it. We could occupy Greenland right now. Who would stop us? Denmark? So we're being nice by not just taking it by force this entire time. And that goes for Canada, too. We could take over Canada at any time. We know we could. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But why don't we just be straight? I want Greenland. Why? I just want my country to be bigger and stronger. Greenland would be better off if it was in America. America would be better off if it had Greenland. It's mutually beneficial. And why should we stop growing? Why did we lose that? Because yesterday I made the point, when was the last time we added a state? Because when my parents were born, we only had 48 states. We tacked on 2 new states in my parents' lifetime. We tacked on 0 in my lifetime. And as it turns out, so far, I'm the first generation in American history that hasn't seen a state added. And then someone sent me an email last night, and they're like, well, that's kind of different because Hawaii and Alaska were already territories, and we just upgraded their status. It's not like we added any land. And I was thinking, well, that kind of makes it even juicier then. Because when was the last time we added land to the United States? Seriously, when was the last time we acquired some new territory? And in business, it's true. I think it's also true in national history that if you're not growing, you're dying. How can we peak yet if we haven't peaked, if we haven't stopped getting bigger? You know, that would change what this country is. This isn't a country on decline. This isn't a country that's falling apart, that's collapsing, that's just minutes away from breaking up. This is a country that's still growing. So, yeah, we need Greenland. Then we need to start annexing parts of Canada. We'll start with British Columbia on the west. Just let them vote themselves in. We'll work our way east. Maybe we'll let the French people split off and do their own thing. You know, the people in Quebec, Montreal. I don't speak French. You don't want to speak English. We can cut you out. But the rest of that should be ours. It's just Diet America anyway. And I want back some of the land we gave up. I would like the Panama Panama Canal Zone back. I wouldn't mind adding Puerto Rico as a 51st state. Now, when it comes to Greenland, Shane Gillis, a pro-Trump comedian, was making a funny point on SNL.
Greenland? Ooh. Now I want Greenland. I never even thought about Greenland. Now it's all I think about. My favorite thing with Trump wanting Greenland is, how they call Greenland, the Vikings used to call Greenland, and Iceland to like keep people away, when in fact Greenland is ice and Iceland is green. And I wonder if that trick, Leif Erikson's trick from 1,000 years ago, made it all the way to 2025, where Donald Trump was staring at a map going, green. And we love green. I don't know.
Another reason I want Greenland is CNN thinks it would be a bad idea if Trump added Greenland. It's like, James, you want the opposite of what CNN says? Yes, I do. I'm not even going to play the report. I'm just going to play the intro to the report that they did on CNN yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And listen to how much the guy, the little narrator here, is just dripping with contempt for the idea of Trump getting Greenland.
New this morning, President Trump just said the United States needs Greenland and that anything less than total control is unacceptable. The question is, what is he willing to do about it? Hang on a second.
This is like how actually it's her birthday today. My older daughter turns 14. Yeah, we're getting old. But that's how she talks to me, like, Dad, what a dumb idea. No one wants to watch that show. Oh, what a dumb joke. This is how the guy's talking about adding new territory to this great country and expanding the American empire. It's like, oh, this is so dumb. Just see, you can hear him rolling his eyes.
Given that the Prime Minister of Greenland says he does not want to be part of the United States, the people of Greenland do not want to be part of the United States, according to opinion polls.
We get it.
So the president just wrote that Greenland is, quote, vital for the Golden Dome that we are building, and that NATO would be far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. And then he said that anything less than that is unacceptable. Again, how unacceptable, and what will he do about it?
Just dripping with contempt. He says we need it for a Golden Dome. Listen, that's how I can talk. because I am not a news anchor that is supposed to be reporting the news. I am commenting on the news. You are not a reporter, sir. Golden Dome. And funny part is, I even disagree with the idea that we need a Golden Dome. We don't need a Golden Dome. You know how I know we don't need a Golden Dome? We've been around for 250 years. We don't have a Golden Dome. We're doing just fine. You know how I know we don't need a Golden Dome? There are 200 countries in this world. Only Israel has an Iron Dome, and the rest of us are doing just fine. Who is going to launch missiles at us? Russia? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I still want Greenland. Steve in Weatherford, you're on WBAP. Do you want Greenland?
Yes, I agree with all the things you've said. I just wanted to add one additional caveat.
Okay.
If you Google a top-down view of the planet Earth, you will see that we can shoot down these new modern things that weren't around for the last 250 years, intercontinental ballistic missiles with MIRV warheads from Alaska at Fort Greely. We can take care of South Korea from Fort Greely, but Iceland is in between us and Russia.
You mean Greenland?
Greenland is in between us and Russia on the eastern front. We have to be able to take down or knock down these new hypersonic and even the old ICBMs in what's called boost phase before they get to apogee or asymmetric apogee. So Greenland is a perfect place for this Gold Dome, Eastern defense to knock down missiles coming out of Russia at us. But Google a top-down view of the planet Earth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Greenland covers the eastern 50% of projectiles coming from Russia toward North America.
Yeah, hey, you don't have to talk me into it. I'm already sold, bro. I like your strategic input there, but I was going to approve it anyway. Thank you very much. That's Stephen Weatherford adding a little geography to the James Show. Coming up next, we got to talk about not just getting Greenland here, but this Texas H-1B visa fraud. It's worse than you think. Actually, a lot of you have been suspicious of it and been sending me emails for 2 straight years about this now, and your suspicions will have been proven correct. More evidence coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.